Okay, greetings everyone, as I T2 with a non-book related video. I'm sure everybody's going to be asking me soon, T2, is Starfield any good? Should I buy it? Is it Game of the Year? Can I trust Bethesda? These are all good questions. After Fallout 76, you would expect not to be able to trust Bethesda anymore. And I think this Starfield game, which I had no expectations for, didn't give a shit about, didn't know anything about it much because they didn't really tell you much about what it was going to be. It was really like low-key kind of for a long time. I felt like they didn't really have, like, the Fallout 76, they paid streamers to go to West Virginia and play it, and you saw it beforehand. This just kind of dropped out of nowhere, and it's like Game of the Year, and it's like actually is good, like Game of the Year material. I was surprised. A lot of people are complaining about dumb shit, like they don't want to fast travel, they want to walk everywhere or fly everywhere manually and leave planet manually and like take forever to do anything. I mean, if that's what you want to do, do that. I guess there's nothing stopping you. The Worth of Buy guy made a review saying like if you fast travel everywhere, you're never going to encounter spaceships in space, so you don't have any space battles. Well, then just don't fast travel everywhere. It's up to you. The choice is yours. But if you don't want to fool with all that tediousness, you can just fast travel everywhere. It's so much simpler. One problem I did have is like with every Bethesda game is the weight limit was like way too low. You can't carry stuff if you keep looting everything, and you end up like trying to give it to your follower so you can fast travel and then taking it off of them, putting some on your ship. Your ship gets over encumbered and you can't fast travel on your ship. So I just like hacked my carry weight to like 2,000 and everything's great. Also, when I tried to stream it for the first time, I was on an optical drive and everything was laggy as hell. So I uninstalled it, put it on a SSD. Everything's great. I was running Arcade in the background while I was playing it and it was still running fine while I was streaming. So, no problems with any of that. As far as glitches go, I've seen like a couple of times there'll be like a loot crate and a few items that are floating in the air where they should have been on a desk, like in a building, but there was no building. And there's a thing where you can go underneath the town and like loot the vendors from underneath the crate. They have like a crate with all the credits and stuff that they sell underneath them, which is dumb because they're using this old engine for some reason. They're still doing it. Oh, what was the other thing? There's a lot of like you can make your spaceship like a donut or an L shape because the NPCs always aim at the center or mass of your ship. So if you don't have anything in your center mass, they're just going to shoot lasers right through a hole that's not there, and you don't have to worry about getting hit when you're flying in space. So I'm going to work on my piloting skills, and I'm going to get a C-class ship, and I'm going to make an L shape or maybe like a U shape, like a dual outrigger kind of thing where there's nothing in the middle. It's going to be so awesome. Yeah, the oxygen consumption is a little annoying because you can only run so far and then you gotta stop and like walk slowly. You could put God mode on, but that kind of ruins the whole thing. You could give yourself infinite credits and just buy all the best stuff, but that kind of ruins the thing. Some people will say like there's too many planets that don't have anything on them. Well, that's real life. Planets usually don't have anything on them. They're like the moon. But anywhere you go, you can just land anywhere and it's going to generate random encounters. You'll see, like if you put your scanning mode on, you'll see like mysterious locations you can go to, and really cool stuff happens. And that's why I'm thinking I should be starting a T2 Fallout or T2 Starfield stories, like I had Warcraft stories, because I can tell you some right now. But I can just go ahead and show you in my Discord. I took some pictures of these are some of the random guns I've been finding. This one's a drum beat. This one, anything with wood on it is expensive and it's really good. The guns with wood are really good. You can find wooden ducks, wooden masks, wooden like horns and things that are like really valuable. It's also really easy to make money just by like stealing everything and then selling it to trade authorities. And also, the woman in the lodge, you join this group called the Constellation, and she takes alien body parts, like organic materials, and she pays you like 40 something credits each. So you just go through killing like level 1 monsters and like looting them and getting all these nutrients and skin and hides and bones and weird things. You just sell them to her for 40 credits each and you can make a ton of money. But the best part of the game, oh my god, stealing spaceships. When you're on a planet, sometimes a spaceship will just land kind of nearby, a little bit in the distance, so you run towards it. A lot of times it's friendlies, and you can just like go in it and you talk to a guy. Maybe you can help them with something, maybe you can't, maybe they don't give a shit about you. Sometimes it's pirates or spacers or eclipse guys or Valrune guys that are like these clans, like cultists, and then you can like kill those guys and steal their ship. But also, which I just learned maybe tonight or yesterday, if you put your points into, it's like a perk system like Fallout. It's exactly like Fallout in space. But then in Fallout, you had all those like pipe weapons that are real shitty looking. These are all like futuristic, cool looking, modern weapons. And when you're in a ship, if you put your points into like targeting, which I'm like, why do I need targeting? I got these like particle cannons which hurt your hull and your shield both. So you put like 3 of them on, you just blast through everything. But you don't want to kill the ship. You want to disable its engine. So if you get targeting, you get it down low, and then you zoom in on it with this targeting mode. You can switch to just attacking the engines, and like the ship will stop. And then you can get close to it and you can board it, just like you can board a space station. And oh my god, you could just steal high level. This guy showed in this video I watched last night, he went to a high level area and he left it on very hard mode, so you get like the best ship at the highest level. And then once you board the ship, you put it on very easy mode and you go in and kill everybody because they're all like level 2 at that point. Then you put it back on very hard mode when you get done stealing it. And you're good. Which is kind of cheating, but it sounds brilliant. So you can steal them from space. One time I got into a ship while I was on the planet, and while I'm fighting the guys, they took off. So my partner, I guess, was still back on the planet, but they just kind of go wherever you go. Whenever you steal a ship, also, wherever you go, it's still with you. You don't lose it. You don't have to like remember where you parked it and all this kind of stuff. But by the time I got to the cockpit, I wasn't on the planet anymore. I was looking down at the planet. I'm up in space. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll take over the ship. And then some ships, I don't know if you get a bounty. I think I got a bounty yesterday because I went into a ship that was on the ground. They were smugglers, but they were United Colonist smugglers, which is a faction that you're supposed to be friendly with. So I shot them all and killed them, took the ship. And then I have like a 289 bounty on me all of a sudden. I also got a perk that makes people show up and attack me called Wanted, so I constantly have a Wanted level, and this level 10 and level 6 ship will keep showing up and harassing me where I couldn't go certain places. I had to like immediately warp out as soon as they appeared. But now that I'm powerful enough, I can kill them and farm them. See, that was my plan. I also got a perk where some random guy comes up to me, he's my adoring fan, and he'll like give me stuff, or he wants to join my crew. I haven't met him yet, but at some point I will. So another cool thing besides stealing the ships, you gotta like get your piloting up also if you want to steal like higher class ships. I was in this one place where I went down into this hole, a bunch of guys in this big base. I killed them all. There's like a big landing pad in the center of the base, and then my follower says they're landing up above, so we run up to the top again. We see a ship landing right outside, and guys are starting to like come out of the hatch. So I start throwing grenades into the hatch. I think one of them got blown up, and he like flew away from the ship. Some of them get out and they start taking cover and shooting at me. And when the grenades start going off, the ship got scared and it flew back off again. Like it just dropped them off and it took off. That was cool. So like, I guess you have to steal the ship before they get too scared of you or something. You can make these like colonies. You can make like extractors to get ore and put them in a bin and put the bin in a thing that'll send it to your ship or send it to a cargo place where you can send it to another planet, and you can have all your resources like shipped to one location, I think, or something, and you can like craft everything in one location, and you can get crew members for your ship, but also crew members to like stay at your colonies. But you can also build turrets for your colony, so I don't know, is there like a thing where people will eventually start attacking your colony if it has too much good stuff on it? Here's my ship that I stole off the Crimson Fleet, which is a pirate faction. I made it super long. I'm going to eventually make one into a U shape. And then we scroll down here to somebody testing out physics with paper or like toilet paper. And 3,000 ducks. Here's a gun Mr. Rogers found. A 1-inch punch. Legendary Razorback. 231 damage. The thing about the really powerful guns, you give them to your follower, give them one bullet, and they got infinite ammo, so they can just blast stuff. I had this mission last night. I went into this cave, cleared everything out. When I came out of the cave, the Shaw gang, that's the one, they were like attacking me, but they had a bunch of like alien dog things that attacked them while they were attacking me, so it was like crazy chaos. I don't know if it's always supposed to happen that way, but it just turned out that way. Here are some of the cockpits. Oh, this is when I found a planet with like floating squids in it. And then here's like my favorite cockpit of this one ship that I got that actually had. Sometimes you'll steal a ship and it has contraband on it, and you got to loot it before you take it over because it'll disappear. But then the contraband, you can't have it in certain star systems because they'll scan you and you'll get a wanted level. So you got to like take it to Wolf or someplace and like sell it. Here's another really good cockpit I found. So you got spaces back behind the pilot seat for your different crew members, and like the highest one can have like 7 or 8 crew members, something like that. Here's a big crater I found. Here is a cave with glowing mushrooms I found. But here's the coolest place so far. This is where I'm going to explore tonight. The Vulture's Roost. So I found this base. It was a abandoned weapons factory. It wasn't like named or anything. It was just kind of like a randomly generated trash place. But it had like this 2 giant buildings and another giant building across from it. It had robot guards. It had pirates of different levels. It had a ship that was being worked on. It had like crates with like ore and stuff in it and like mining stuff everywhere. It was like a big campus. Then I went into the computer. Maybe it was a named place because it had a computer with like emails and stuff, and it was talking about weapon shipments being sent to this one place, and it said go there. So I went there, and here's what it is. This is like where the pirates live, I guess, maybe. I don't know. It looks cool as fuck. It's like built into a cliff. It's got these like cliffside walkways. There's like a bad guy walking around too. You can't really see him there. And here's something Austin found, like a snow biome with lava apparently. That kind of looks like the Vulture's Roost. Maybe he went there. He's got a legendary headhunter helmet. And here's like some other stuff he found. He found like a giant bat or something. He found some graffiti. So we're finding a lot of cool stuff, basically. There's so much more to the game than you would think there would be. There was this one planet I went to. It's called like 123 Salvage or something like that. It's on the planet Nema or something. It sounded like one of those rat Pokemon names. And it had a bunch of rat monsters on it. And they were pretty high level. But it also had like this salvage yard. Nobody would talk to me because they were just busy salvaging. And you step away from it and you look around and there's like giant mechs everywhere. Some of them are like being worked on. Some of them are like just scrap. I thought it was like a giant battlefield where they all got blown up. But I guess it's where they all got taken to this one salvage yard. It's like a junkyard for giant mechs. And if we get to a point, maybe one of the expansions, you're going to be able to actually drive these mechs around, like on the planet surface. That would be sick. But yeah, like the main story seems pretty good. There's like so much stuff. I'm intentionally not going to talking to people because I have so many quests just stacked on top of each other that I can't get through them all. If I talked to people and got even more quests, it would blow my mind, and I can't deal with it. The ship crafting, you can like make pretty much whatever you want if you have enough money and stuff. I got a quest right now for like getting a guy 2,000 argon. I'm like, how am I gonna? I need like a giant ship with a giant cargo hold. And I found like a 1,400 cargo hold ship. So I'm like, if each one weighs 0.5, then it'll only take me like 1,000 to fit in. Or maybe I can fit like. I was trying to do all this math. Turns out you can just turn it in like every few 5 at a time, 10 at a time, 100 at a time, whatever you got. You gotta turn in all at once. But that guy, there's like shipyards, and then you can buy ships there, which I don't recommend because they're so fun to steal. And then just craft however you want. But if you want to sell them, you gotta like register them and then sell them, and then you can make a little bit of money. Probably not really worth doing that, but yeah, make your like L shape or U shape or donut shaped ship, so you can't be killed. But also, what was I gonna say? There's just so many planets and there's moons. Oh my god, 0G. So I don't even have any powers yet. Apparently these artifacts from the main quest give you powers. And one of the powers is like an oxygen bubble. So you constantly can run all the time, apparently. But another one, apparently, is you can turn 0G on and off. So I was on like a abandoned space station. And there's a computer. And you turn the gravity off. Everything starts floating. You go in the door and you fight a bunch of dudes. And you shoot them and they ragdoll and their guns start flying towards you. You can just grab the loot out of the air. They'll like start sliding, or like stuff starts floating in front of them, and they got cover. It's like playing Ender's Game. I was like, what the fuck, Ender's Game? So then I went around the corner, and I pulled out my double barrel incendiary shotgun, shot a guy, and it knocked me backwards into the wall because of the recoil of the gun. I forgot about him in 0G. It was so sick. And you gotta like keep boosting in certain directions, and like trying to slide around corners, and I'm like, let me see how a landmine works in 0G. So I dropped the landmine. It just takes off in a straight line towards wherever I was placing it, and it blows a bunch of guys up and kills them. And it was awesome. Exploding barrels around like you can shoot. There's just so much cool shit in it. And I don't know why anybody wouldn't want to play this. It's so much fun. Me and Rogers are talking about, like, we want to quit our jobs just to have time to play this as much as we want to play it. Because we're also doing like arcade dailies and trying to like keep up with arcades at the same time, and we just can't. It's too many good games. Baldur's Gate 3 is even out right now. We can't even like get started with that. Austin played it, and every time I try to play, he tries to get me to go to the Underdark, and I get freaked out and I can't play it. But Starfield, man, it is. We might be entering a new age of gaming where it's like the Renaissance. Everything was real shit from like 2019 to now. Now everything good is just starting to come out all at the same time. It'd be pretty dope if that's how it turns out.